I can't be canceled, there's no way that you can stop me. I'm fully independent, there's no label who can drop me. Y'all been starting rumors, let me help you with some. Yeah, y'all can't cancel me, my life is scandal free. There ain't no sponsors taking losses cause the brand is me. My hands are clean, my family and my fans agree. Y'all can't cancel me for facts because you're mad and weak. How's a man say I'm clickbait if he gonna use this face to get clicks on his page? Y'all hypocrites are made. But I ain't tripping about these bullies, it ain't 6th grade. Go ahead and diss me trying to sell a couple mixtapes. I am not playing it safe, I said what I said, it is what it is. I don't care if you mad at me, okay? Go ahead and change the channel. Don't waste your time trying to cancel me, okay? They love me cause they know that I'm it. Say what you want, I guess it is what it is. Haters can talk, but they can't cancel the kid. Go ahead and go off, try and say this is it.
Aaron Tuttle here. It's storm season in Oklahoma, and with that comes torrential rain, high winds, and hail. To protect your home and your family from these threats, the one roofing company you should trust is Ferguson Roof Systems. They've been providing the best in roofing services for nearly half a century. Ferguson is Oklahoma's full-service roofing company, certified with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and a 5-star rating on Google. And with Ferguson now offering Class 4 impact-resistant shingles, now is the time to trust them with your home's roof. Get started today at FergusonRoofSystems.com. Hey there, Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle with you. It is, what time is it? 9:45. So, welcome to AT's weather. So we're here to talk about some weather and have a good time. Somebody asked me, what you drinking? That kind of a good time. Oh, James, it's just some iced tea for now. But maybe a little later. The other day I tried a combination of the Dr. Pepper Zero. Oh, dude, game changer, by the way. But it was the one with cherry. So it was Dr. Pepper Zero Cherry, zero sugar. And I mixed it with Weller's. And I was like, that's not bad. It's pretty tasty. I can drink a lot of that and get in trouble. So, anyway, but yeah, those new zero drinks, zero sugar, way better than the old school diet. I don't know, they finally figured out how to get all the taste of the sugar without the bitterness and the fakeness. I don't know. They're doing a really good job, but you can't let it get warm. You got to drink it cold. If it gets warm, that bitter taste starts to come back. But anyway, that's enough of that. That's how we get started tonight, off on a tangent. You guys are here to talk about the weather, I know. All right, so let's get on with it, shall we? First thing we're going to do, what is I'm going to do? Oh, let me look at something here real quick. Yeah, okay. That's what I wanted to see. All right, now I'm going to show you something. So this is a look at the Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow. This is our severe weather threat way down south into South Texas. You see that? Otherwise, a marginal risk out here in the green over Texas, looks like for the most part in far western Oklahoma. This might be upgraded to a slight risk for tomorrow in the eastern Texas Panhandle and far western Oklahoma. So kind of keep that in mind. The tornado threat right now is anchored down here in western Texas again as a 2% rain, but I think it could be extended into western Oklahoma. We'll look at that here in a second. I'll tell you why. Otherwise, man, it really is. It's slim pickings to try to find a day favorable for tornadoes here across Oklahoma. It's just not happening this season. I mean, it's just like last season. Remember that? I mean, it was very quiet last season. And then somehow, some way, I was scratching my head going, how do we get all these extra tornadoes? Because they ended up counting a lot of these QLCS type tornadoes on squall lines, which come usually later in our period. They usually start to come in for June. So we have a lot of those, and that's kind of where they kind of added up the tornado count. But our typical supercell generated tornadoes were few and far between last year and certainly are this year. All right, long range outlook for storms like that. Well, kind of quiet here. Things shifting way north, northern plains on the 20th. You can see all the way into early next week. Probability too low from the Storm Prediction Center. Well, the reason for that is the upper levels of the atmosphere. Take a look at the jet stream pattern. I plotted the European models to kind of tail the tail. It's got the upper level low right here, and as we always talk about, all of your lift comes in out on the southeastward side of the upper low. So if you were to draw it an axis like this, anytime you see a low, it's this little quadrant here where you get all the juicy list that comes in for the best instability. And then you'll get some residual lift up in this region, but this is where you get all the action as far as severe weather is concerned. All right, so to take a look at that little circle, it hangs around there for another day for our Wednesday. You can see it starts to move into the eastern Texas panhandle. So it's a very small, confined area of lift and spin in the atmosphere closer to that, which would put this area here favorable, in my opinion, eastern panhandle of Texas and far western Oklahoma for maybe seeing a tornado or two. And that's about it. That's all I can muster up. Otherwise, we look up to northern western part of the country. Another little low comes in. It spirals out there for a while. Oh, where's it going? It's going into Canada. It's going to Winnipeg, as a matter of fact. Jody, it's going into your backyard. This is Winnipeg, Canada right here. Let me put the low on there for you. So that's where Jody used to live. And now she lives right here. Anyway, so that stuff's way up there. This is on the Tuesday the 12th. All right, let's go on after that, see what happens. All right, we've got another little system that tries to come in. It falls apart, fills in. This is goes on the 27th of next week. So we'll go over a couple more. So what you see is the little red on the map is energy that comes out. So it kind of it moved here and then it kind of fell apart, and what's left of it is here. So there's a little bit of lifting atmosphere on the 27th based off the European. The American model is a little stronger, so that's probably going to be our best opportunity for some storms, at least for severe weather goes. But the main track up here is where the stronger systems reside, and then that's pretty much it. It's a messy pattern after that. Here's the 28th. Looks like there's might be some low out here that gets trapped if a ridge starts to develop here. I don't know, man. The models are having a very hard time over Memorial Day weekend. They have not been consistent. They're all over the place on the upper level pattern, and as long as that's happening, it's very hard to pinpoint exact timeline for storm systems. So we'll focus on the next 24 hours. So tonight, expect some showers and storms down there in North Texas to start to move northward across the Red River, and that will make their way overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning through Oklahoma. Those will marginally severe. I think most of them will be under. And then we have tomorrow afternoon some storms out there in western Oklahoma that come in from Texas. And then there's that little spot where SPC highlighted, potential trouble down here in western Texas for potential tornadoes. Anyway, those storms move into western half of the state during the afternoon and early evening, and they kind of die out. And then another little area of rain moves in from Texas into Oklahoma as we head into tomorrow night while you sleep. And there's some more rainfall. So the wet pattern continues, and it's a wet pattern, but I have always told you since day one, starting Saturday night, a lot of dry air hours in each day, and most of the rainfall we've been kind of having has been in the nighttime hours as well, so it's not interfering with too many of your plans. And the other good news is it has not been as wet as models first thought as far as rainfall totals are concerned. So we're not getting as many flooding reports as we once feared, which is fine by me. Now here's a look at the close-up view of Oklahoma. Go on the high-res model here, and let me put the time. So you'll be able to make this out on your screen if you're watching me on a big HD TV, or if you're on a tablet. If you're on your phone, get out your little spectacles and just get in there really close. Anyways, there's 8 o'clock in the evening here for our timeline for tonight. We're going to move forward now in time, and it produces a few of those showers and storms there. It's not as, let's see, what is this the model one? Hold on a second. Yeah, it's the one I wanted. All right, so there's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's got most of the rain on an axis here that's across eastern Oklahoma, kind of curls back into Oklahoma City. So, northwest side of town may get a lot less than the southeast side, and even that we're not talking about a whole lot. But anyway, that's overnight while you sleep into the early morning hours when you head out the door. So could be a little wet for some of you, kind of similar to the last couple of mornings we've had around parts of the state. As we head into the rest of the morning, that stuff kind of continues to migrate to the north and also into eastern Oklahoma. So a little rainy for you guys out eastern parts of the state. By lunchtime, model's trying to bubble up at least a couple of isolated showers or thunderstorms. And just like today, you might get a little pea-sized hail, a few lightning strikes with it. There's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, these might be a little stronger, so the hail could be just a little bit bigger. Maybe dime-sized hail. It's right around the borderline for a severe storm. But there's 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow. So there's just some isolated stuff here pop up in central Oklahoma. Other stuff continues out across the Tulsa area. So kind of a wet day for the eastern third of Oklahoma, whereas central Oklahoma is kind of a 50-50, wet and dry, and then western Oklahoma is mostly dry until we get into the evening. So there's 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, and it's got this nice little squall line forming. Now out here, if we plot the forecast sounding shear profile at 8 o'clock at night, it does indicate the classic supercell structure to it. Wind shear is adequate. It does turn with height in the lowest several kilometers. It's not overly crazy, but it's enough. And the wind speed's around 25 to 30 knots. So it's one of those marginal possibilities for a tornado. It looks like golf ball size hail be the primary hail size out of those storms. So like I said, it's not a very high threat, but it's not a zero threat either. And it's out here across far western counties of Oklahoma into the evening hours as this line migrates in. And then as you can see, by midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning, it is fizzling fast. Now, a residual of that may still kind of kick into central Oklahoma overnight, Wednesday night, so tomorrow night. And then on Thursday morning, another system out of Texas comes northward. And this is that upper level low I talked to you about, I think it was last night or the night before. And that moves right up the I-35 corridor during the day on Thursday. So look for some scattered showers, cloudy skies, maybe a little bit heavier thunderstorm activity in eastern Oklahoma on Thursday. So a potential wet day for you guys out there. Oh, let's see what happens. That's as far as this model goes. It takes us to about Friday morning. And that's when things are really kind of starting to wind down. Let's just take a look for fun at potential rainfall totals from this point forward with all of this action on the map, and we'll see how it looks. So potentially we're looking at anywhere from 1 to 3, maybe 4 inches of rainfall here in western Oklahoma for the storms that come in across the border. Down here in southeast Oklahoma, there's a hot spot there around 5 inches. Otherwise, looks like another 2 to 3 out here in southeast Oklahoma and in northeast Oklahoma once you get kind of north and east of Tulsa. These little tracks of red here up around 2 to 3 inches. So there's going to be some swaths of some really good rainfall. Kind of feast or famine though here across the central part of the state. Either you're on the dry side or the wet side, and just the models won't be good enough to tell you who it's going to be. It's just going to be kind of hit and miss. But hopefully those folks that need the rain will still get some, and those folks that have had enough won't. And that's the simplest way of looking at it. All right, here's a look at the temperatures the next few days. Daytime highs being the mid to upper 70s when you have cloud covers. Anytime you do get a little bit of sun this time of year, we can bounce quickly into the low 80s. So this pattern is stuck with us all the way to the weekend. Really in early next week, it's kind of a stagnant pattern setting up. So not going to be any big changes out there. Overnight lows back into the 70s. And that kind of takes you in here to the short term. What about the rest of Memorial Day weekend? I kind of took you into the beginning of it. We got to go to just the one model that goes out that far for the rest of it. So we'll just take a quick look here, and we'll see how it differs. That way, if you're trying to plan something, you at least have some idea what the latest trend is. Doesn't mean it's going to stay this way, but at least it's something to work with for now. So it's got the little cluster of energy that comes through on the 27th of the month. Then we go through Friday. Let's see what happens there. Zonal flow. You might set up a dry line out west with some subtle energy if we can get something going on out far western Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle. I didn't even look at the surface. I'm just looking at the upper levels, which is kind of how that would usually line up. Still zonal flow. Let's see over in a Saturday. There's that ridge of high pressure, though, that starts to develop down here across Mexico. And once that happens, it kind of starts to nudge the pattern in kind of a northwest flow around it. Now, a lot of times, especially in the summer, you get what we call the ring of fire, which is you get storms that do go along the northern periphery of the high and rotate around in a clockwise fashion. So let's just see what happens with this. So that's Saturday. And then Sunday, looks like a little disturbance swings on through. So I look for some storms with that one. That would be on Sunday. Could be a morning deal, late night, Saturday night, early morning Sunday. So if that's the case, perfect timing. Unless you're on a boat, which some of you probably will be on a boat, you have to deal with some storms then. Let's see here. And then on Monday itself, we're on Monday itself. Ridge kind of nudges in a little bit, kind of shuts down. Looks like precipitation chances here across the body of the state, and all the main energy is way out here in the northwestern part of the country. So that's the way it looks like in the upper levels. If we go downstairs just to see for fun, and I'm going to zoom in really close so we can see if anything comes action-wise out of all that. And this would be what we call the model QPF. And we'll see if underneath that upper pattern we produce anything. So let me go on in here. So we're at the 27th. So there's a few of those storms there on the 27th, 4 or 5 o'clock. So there's some nice storms that do move through here then on the 27th in the evening hours across Oklahoma. All right, so likely to see a little bit of severe weather with that. Usually it's hail and wind. That's your default this time of the year. Just go hail and wind default. It is very hard to get a tornado, so you have to have perfect conditions, and we've been far from perfect in that aspect. All right, so now we're on Saturday night. No, Saturday morning. Oh, no, that was Saturday night. And here's Sunday. Well, that was quick. So it does have that little signal of some storms that move through Saturday night, Sunday morning. So there you go. And then that moves out of there for the rest of Sunday. It does try to generate some residual stuff in the afternoon over a small area of the state. But my goodness. Man, Memorial Day weekend, typically, we do not get this lucky. It's usually storming somewhere, and it's usually severe somewhere, and ruins people's plans. But right now, knock on wood, there's only one event set up, and that's Saturday night during that time frame. So we shall see if that stays the same, but you at least are now up to date with everything you need to know for the big story out there across Oklahoma and surrounding areas. All right, let me go to your comments here real quick. Jamie says, so thankful for your updates. You're welcome, Jamie. Thanks for following on YouTube. Jim, as always, checking in from Mustang. Good to see you, Jim. Christopher, having a pretty good day today. Thanks for asking. Busy. Very busy. All my days are busy. I need to clone myself. Seriously. Like 2 more of me to do everything that I do. I can't keep going like this. I just know it. But somehow I managed for the time being. Busy. All right, let me go to the patrons over here on Facebook. So remember, on this video, you should have seen it pop in right here on the video. Should have said subscribe and hit the bell. So I'm putting that on there to remind you now. 'Cause a lot of you don't hit the bell or whatever platform you're on. Click to get notified when I go live, and so you'll miss some of the live updates. And sometimes they'll turn it off on you and you don't know it, and you don't want that to happen. So make sure you turn on your live updates. Just check them, especially on Facebook. Facebook is known to stick their finger and meddle into stuff when they should just leave well enough alone, but they like to mess with your settings. Okay, so I see you, Sam. Send me some stars tonight, so appreciate you, sir. Of course, Katie just gets in. She's late to the party. So, Robin says there's a tornado warning going on down there in Houston. We could go take a look at that. Chris has already called it tornado season over for Oklahoma City. Reese wants a Weather Dog t-shirts. So, all right, we're going to have to get Larry on a t-shirt. Oh, there's a subscribe. You see it? There it is. Oh, almost missed it. So we'll work on the Larry t-shirts. That's hilarious. James, thanks for the stars, by the way. Yeah, Winnipeg does have a tornado season. I can see Jody is informing you guys as we speak. Some education. They may get more tornadoes than we will, as far as, around the region. Their province is Manitoba, southern end of Manitoba, so not necessarily in Winnipeg itself, but around the countryside. Let's see, what else? Reed, Timmer, and Chasers are down there. Radar indicated on I-10 for a tornado. That guy, I've known Reed forever, man. He will chase. If there's a teeny tiniest chance of a tornado, he's going to chase it. Jamie, everyone's saying tornado season is a flop. It ain't over yet. It's true. Listen, I put, how much weight I put into tornado seasonal forecasts? Go ahead and ask me. Aaron, how much weight do you put in seasonal tornado forecasts? How much skill is involved? How much luck is involved? it's the chicken and the egg thing. It's just there's not enough proof of any skill involved of any of that, and I see so many flops every year that every time I think people get excited, they think they can pull it off, then the next year Mother Nature spanks them and sends them back home crying. So this is another one of those years. Last year was a year like that. This year is a year like that. But hey, nobody other than storm chasers and researchers, no one else wants these tornadoes. But that's the way things have been going. and it's just the way it is right now, which is fine. We're in kind of a pattern where that's not a big event maker for us. It only takes one, to, of course, to really wreck everything, but I'll be glad if we could have 0. All right, let's go down to Houston. Somebody said let's go to Houston. So we're going to see what the radar looks like down there. So those of you folks that are sticking around, let's see what we got. So this little red polygon is for the tornado warning down here. This is looks like Jersey Village on the northwest side of town. Looks like it's going to be one of those back end in the rain, so no one's going to see it. And whatever was there before isn't all that great now. I'm going to go back a few frames and see if maybe there was something on radar much stronger than what we currently are working with. All right, yeah, at one point, man, this was a big, at one point maybe. Yeah, down here when it came out of Katy. But ever since then, the probability of a tornado in the algorithms right now is 10%. So it's not doing much of anything. Let me go to a different radar view though, because we have some tidwars in the house up here, which have a closer view. So let me see if it's showing us anything to look at. By the way, we're just now joining. We finished the forecast here in Oklahoma, and somebody mentioned there was a tornado warning in Houston. So we're going down here to check it out to see if there's anything on radar. So the residual circulation center is very weak, but it's basically in Harris County, and it's let's see, what highway is this? It's south of 249, and it's west of 249. Well, south of 249 where it comes into I-45, southwest of there. So basically, it's in this little spot right here. So if there is a tornado, that's where it's located. The velocity today is very broad and very weak. So odds are there's not, but there likely probably be like a little bit of a lowering or wall cloud kind of a deal. But that's the latest on the tornado warning. That's down here in North Houston. This is north of Loop 610. So north of, what highway is this? How come my thing's not showing up? Oh, Cross Timbers. No, it's picking up little streets. That's why. I gotta plot my Houston roads on here. I don't have my road network overlaid because I usually don't cover Houston. Anyway, so there's a look at that storm down here in Harris County, the northwest side of town. As of right now, the potential tornado would be coming up between 45 and the Toll, south of 249 and north of 610 in between. But like I said, it doesn't look all that great on radar. A lot of times you get these on the leading edge, these little spin region on the radar reflectivity. So anyway, so there's the Houston situation. And that's really the only situation right now that's got any group of severes on it. Okay, well that was it. All right, that was it for me. I need to get going. It's 10 after 8. It's time for the rest of us to go do something this evening. So let's see, Robin, you're welcome. Yeah, it's there's a real quick. You always take a tornado warning seriously, right? You always want to seek shelter. You always want to be prepared. So you never want to ignore one. Now that said, it's because you don't know, right? You're not the expert. You leave it up to the experts. There's the warning. So you don't know all the nuances behind it. You don't know if it was a tornado when it was first issued and then it's gone, hasn't come back since. You don't know if it's in a situation where it never was a tornado, it was a radar indicated rotation. You don't know if it was storm spotted, confirmed, any of those things, right? So your anxiety level, your fear level, healthy respect of fear, of course, to act to save you and your loved ones, is all there. So when I come in, I'm able to take that and now break it down for you in all those little intricate details. And then all of a sudden, your anxiety and everything, just like tonight we look at it, goes from up here and just starts doing this, right? And all of a sudden you can breathe normal again, your heart rate's back to normal. You're like, phew, one of those deals. In a lot of cases, that's the way tornado warnings go. And I like to see it that way, obviously. But every now and then you get one where, yep, it's still there, it's still on the ground, and it's a certain size, whatever, fill in the blank. And it's doing damage, yes or no. And so every now and then you'll have those type of deals. But being able to diagnose and look at radar in detail like that at least gives you some more information to go off of as to whether or not it's strong or weak, if it's been reported, all that kind of deal. I'm still looking at the radar while I'm talking to you. Because once I pull this stuff up, it's hard for me to put it back down. I'm switching radar views again here real quick just because curiosity, the kid in me. Let's see. I'm just putting this back up here. Hey, if I'm going to look at it, you might as well look at it, right? Anyway, so just checking it out. It's still that same area of spin. They updated the warning to shrink it down and to focus on this little spot. So coming up on I-45 and north of 610. So it's by, 19, 20 miles. About 2 miles north of 610 on 45 is where that's crossing over. So it'll be eventually heading into south of Mount Houston. If anything even touches down right now, the radar would indicate there's a nice wall cloud, and it might even have a funnel with it, but there's no tight couplet. It's too broad. And we're looking at about 700 feet off the ground. So we would know by radar data if it was something doing damage. Now I'm going to switch to another radar source. It's a little farther away, but it can give me a different view and show me if there's any debris that's been detected within this thing. Alright, so the cross correlation coefficient does not indicate that there has been any touchdown of any kind. It's just a nice strong hook on the leading edge. This would be what we call a QLCS type tornado. So in other words, it's on the leading edge of a squall line. So this is your squall line activity like this. And so this is just a spin up that's on the leading edge of this line. And these kind of spin ups typically are very weak. They're transitory. They may only last 10 seconds. They may last a minute. Usually kind of a EF0 or EF1 type tornado damage. Very rare for them to get any stronger than that. It has happened, but it's very, very rare for that to happen. So they're not true sense of the word mesocyclone type tornadoes. So those are usually the ones that are ability to be stronger, longer lived, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, we're just kind of watching the leading edge of this guy, and it's official warning for a reason. It's just a little area they're watching on radar. And with what I just told you, they could take the warning off, let it expire, watch this little hook, and nothing happened with it. And all of a sudden, it puts one down for 10 seconds. Well, by the time they go enter the warning into the system, it goes out to everybody, it's already over and missed it, gone, right? Then everybody says, how come you didn't have a warning? Well, what are you going to do with that? So you leave the warning going while there's a threat that potentially something could happen. So that's kind of where how that plays out in the warning criteria process. So I'm just going to sit here and watch this for a minute. Let's see, where are we at on this one? 1,800 feet, so still a pretty good level. Yeah, there's just nothing there. So anyway, so that's the latest going on there in Houston. Okay, Well, that's all for now. I got to get out of here. But yeah, Jody just mentioned, Roger, make sure you get my, man, Noah, you are late, dude. Make sure you get my weather app. It's free. It's called AT's Weather to Go. Apple, Google Play. It'll predict these type of tornadoes before they happen. A lot of times you'll get a warning from that, even when there's no official tornado warning from like the National Weather Service. Let's say, just for example, I'm just throwing this out there. Let's say there's one guy on the evening shift or midnight shift or whatever, and he has to take a potty break, right? And then a tornado happens within that minute or is about to. You know, he can't get to it. I'm just using this example because there's usually going to be more than one person on shift. But in the old days, sometimes it was only one person on shift. But anyway, that's just making this out there. So you'd want a backup is what I'm trying to tell you, right? Well, the app will do that for you. It'll send you a twisting storm alert, dangerous storm approaching. It'll give you a BTI number, which is a tornado rating from 0 to 10. If it's on the low side, you're okay, but keep an eye on it. If it's in the middle numbers, 4, 5, and 6, think about getting into shelter, getting your plan together, or whatever. If it's a 7, 8, 9, 10, don't waste any time, hit the deck. So that'll give you some extra time to prepare. So it's called AT's Weather to Go. All right, listen, thanks for all the stars tonight, all the love, all the questions, all that kind of stuff. And I got to get, they just canceled the tornado warning. It popped off my screen. I was looking as I'm talking to you. So that's because nothing was happening. That's all right. That's good, though. It means Houston does not have a problem. You're good. You're clear. Except you do have some storms moving through. Okay, you guys have a great night tonight. And remember, if you're late and you missed out everything here in Oklahoma, a few storms overnight, so it'd be marginally severe at worst. Otherwise, we really are struggling to get severe weather in the state again. Those bubble up from the south and move north and to eastern Oklahoma during the day tomorrow. So the eastern third of the state's pretty wet. Central part of the state's off and on, half sun, half clouds and rain. Just kind of pop up here and there. There's no rhyme or reason in location. Western Oklahoma's pretty much dry until evening hours after 8 o'clock. And then you might see a tornado out there in far western Oklahoma and in the eastern Texas Panhandle. The wind shear is about that much better. It's not perfect or ideal, but it's that much better. So a freak thing could happen, but that's where that would be located. And those would fall apart as they moved eastward during the evening hours. By the time they work in central Oklahoma, they'll probably fall apart. And then we do have some more rain moving in tomorrow night from Texas, moving northward into the morning hours again for Thursday, and then a wet day for Thursday. So there you go. All right. You guys take care. Sleep well. Take some melatonin. Stay off your computers, your tablets here now that you're getting into bed. Don't do that. Put the pets out of the bed. Crate them. Put them on the floor. Make sure it's pitch dark. And maybe take like some sleepy time tea or something. And then sleep like a baby. You're going to need it. We all need it. All right. See you guys. Bye.